My name is Jordan Burrs, and I'm going to be your host for the entire FIFA World Cup 2022. Before we dive into my best picks for the Netherlands versus USA game and the Argentina versus Australia game, make sure you subscribe to the Odd Shoppers channel because we drop daily predictions, previews, and No House Advantage videos every single day. Speaking about No House Advantage is bringing you the most dynamic fantasy sports platform available today. Play 'em and pick 'em contests versus other people for a shot at winning up to $25,000 in cash. Be sure to also check out our No House Advantage lineup generators and projections. Test your skills versus the house and 20x your entry if you hit all of your picks. Sign up now with the link below to get a first match deposit bonus of up to $50. Now, without further ado, let's get into my best picks for the round of 16 day one. Now, because we only have two games today, I only have two best picks for you, but the first one is in the Netherlands versus USA game. I do think it's going to be very, very tight. Obviously, we've seen USA, they've struggled to score. They also haven't been scored against plenty, only conceding one goal in their first three games. Netherlands, exact same. The 6 games that USA and Netherlands have been a part of in the group stage have all ended under 2.5 goals. Now, you could argue that this game goes into extra time. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends in a draw. But like we've seen with the USA in the second half of every single one of their group stage games, they fall off a bit. I don't know if they lose concentration, if they aren't fit enough, if the game plan isn't working. I don't know what's going on in that camp, but they do need to sort it out before this Netherlands game, because if they switch off just for 10 minutes in that game, Netherlands will capitalize. They are a very, very clinical side when it comes to late in the second half. So my best pick for the Netherlands versus USA game is Netherlands to win and under 2.5 goals at odds of plus 255. Then my second best pick comes out of the Argentina versus Australia game. This is truly a David versus Goliath situation. Australia barely qualified for the World Cup, and now they've outfoxed Tunisia and Denmark to make it into the knockout stages. No one gave them a chance. I didn't give them a chance, but I'm very, very happy to see them there. This is what the World Cup is all about. Now, Argentina, besides their first stumbling block, which was Saudi Arabia, where they lost 2-1, they came back and beat Mexico 2-0 and then beat Poland 2-0. This Argentina side is one of the best sides in the world. And Australia, to be fair, they got very unlucky that they have to face Argentina in the round of 16. I don't think there's any chance that Australia come out here with a victory. Maybe they try and frustrate this Argentinian side into a draw at full time. I still don't know how that's going to be possible. And then somehow make it into penalties and beat them there. I think that's Australia's only hope. So in the Argentina versus Australia game, my best pick is Argentina to win both halves at odds of plus 125. Just to wrap it up, in the Netherlands versus USA game, we've got Netherlands to win and under 2.5 goals at odds of plus 255. And in the Argentina versus Australia game, we've got Argentina to win both halves at odds of plus 125. Again, guys, make sure you subscribe to the Odd Shoppers channel because we post daily predictions, daily previews, and No House Advantage videos every single day. Also, make sure you go download No House Advantage. The link is in the description. And we're also still doing our Bet MGM offer, where you deposit $10, bet $10, and win $200 of free bets if any team or player scores in the World Cup. My name's Jordan Burrs. You can find me on YouTube at Jordan Burrs, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
getting out of his way.
People are pretty good about that up here. They're pretty
pretty much everywhere.
If you're, yeah, that's
Like I was in Nashville for 3 years and I didn't have this problem, man.
Oh, yeah.
That can't be true, is it?
It actually
Oh, my
causes
God.
problems there. But people do that.
All right, welcome in. Happy Friday. I know it's like a week past the whole Thanksgiving holiday, so there's no more excuse to think that Friday is Monday and all the other things that happened last week. I don't know what it feels like for you today, but for us, it feels like a good opportunity to make some money over at No House Advantage. So for Geoff, I'm Eytan, Mike's producing. We appreciate the three of us. Truly appreciate you spending some time with us ahead of the weekend slate that we have. And Geoff, my friend, I don't know how things went for you overall. I know you and Pete have the Thursday show where you kind of dive deep into the Thursday night from an NHA standpoint. The side wasn't right for me. I was on New England +4. I did have a nice field goal prop in the first half that just fell right as it hit that crossbar. But a nice, just overall wasn't terrible. And every time you can hit like a 5-leg same game parlay and hit 7 units, you take it. But from an NHA standpoint, that's done. Now we have the weekend. So I don't know how last night went for you. And then we also have what should be a fun weekend with a lot of different things from drama to just some angles that we can hit.
Yeah, no, I mean, last night was, we talked about a bunch of different angles. I mean, the projections were pretty much dead on. The unders were the play.
Yep.
And my biggest investment was just playing the under on the total. So I mean, I got there from that perspective. And I think again, when we're talking about the versus the house contest, or excuse me, the pick'em contest, it's a bunch of different ways to play it. And yeah, we weren't really bullish on anything like to go with the Buffalo side, like Allen under. I think we were pretty confident on things like that, even like Singletary kind of being an iffy play. I think the only thing that kind of didn't get there for me was I was kind of bullish on Hunter Henry props. He didn't get there. That was maybe a little bit of a thin play anyways, but and then God, I think maybe it was Isaiah McKenzie or something. But anyways, for the most part, the projections were straightforward, and I don't think that was like a big game to take a big angle on anyways. So
that's the big thing too, right? You have it where it's kind of just like, all right, you get in, you get out, a couple of plays. It's not the big Thursday or Monday night or Sunday night game, right? That can separate itself. It's kind of just like get your feet wet, see if you can pull anything. You're right as far as the unders and those projections that Geoff mentioned. They're free for you on our site on Stokastic. So there's no excuse to go into any competition, any tournament here with tons of overlays. Geoff continues to remind you that happens here at NHA, where you're getting free projections from us. You're getting the optimal lineups from us. So we'll tell you can match your first deposit using Stokastic. Normally we look at all these heavy unders, and you mentioned last night, but do we not have to start with what might be the biggest smash opportunity available? And that's David Montgomery. Like, I know there's a big gap, wide gap, technically, Geoff, between Nick Chubb's line and the median projection. And I will say, without burying the lead here, that I disagree a little bit with the number one projection we have. But look, that's neither here nor there. I think the other one that stands out that I'm all over is NHA is 71.5 for David Montgomery. Alex has him projected for free on site at 95.5. That seems to me like all I'm saying is that seems to me like it's way more realistic for David Montgomery to smash his over than for Nick Chubb to be held back significantly in his under, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, like the Packers, rush defense. We talked about it with before the Philly game. I mean, it's not good. It's bottom. It might be bottom 5 in defensive DVOA. It's just a good spot for David Montgomery, obviously. And, I'm not even sure if we've gotten concrete news on Fields. It's like the one guy I completely forgot to look up in terms of injury issues this week. But regardless,
he hasn't been ruled out.
Okay, so he's out. So there you go.
He was a full participant, I believe, on Friday, if not Thursday.
Okay. So, I mean, regardless, I think that Montgomery's in a spot where, if Fields plays, he's going to get usage because, I'm not sure if the Bears want Fields running around as much. And if he doesn't play, he doesn't have the rushing quarterback. So it's really a pretty solid spot. Yeah, I think that right now attacking Green Bay with running backs any way you can is just a good strategy anyways, whether it's DFS, props, whatever you're playing. I got no reason to go against this one either. I'm kind of like you a little bit, Chubb. The Chubb line is big, but we're talking about a really terrible rush defense.
Awful. Thank you.
In Houston. So I'll probably lay off that one too. I am a little skeptical about, the Browns coming out and just, there could be rust and that could affect Chubb's line, but I'm not going to take it to the point where I want to bet on it necessarily. But I do want to go with the projections, go over Montgomery there. Makes a lot of sense.
So there are two kind of quick factors here to talk about briefly, and you touched on them, but I just wanted to explore, and it's more so about the Montgomery one with Fields, because I can't find this right now. Like Odd Shopper, for example, doesn't have any rushing props up. So I don't think the books have any rushing props up for David Montgomery, meaning it goes right back into what you were saying about Justin Fields. So and again, nobody has to lock in anything on Friday. You don't have to do anything. David Montgomery, that number is going to be there. That's not changing. But knowing that that's not changing, like if Fields is in, out, whatever the biggest change or swing to the line will be on the books, you've got this pretty much locked in at NHA.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. So interesting spot anyways. Just trying to see if there's anything else from that game. If they got Aaron Jones or anything up, but it's kind of an interesting spot for the Packers too. Like, with Aaron Rodgers now playing and just his history against the Bears. So I'm just trying to think if there's other ways.
Rodgers is up there, by the way. We do have him as a decent play under his passing yards.
Yeah, there's another play actually is, he's got an interception prop up. So, when's the last time he threw an interception against the Bears? I don't know. Never. So, Aaron Rodgers is not a guy you want to target with interception props. I know he's not 100%. He's having.
That's what I was going to ask you, though. Do you think that there's any type of press? And if you really wanted to go deep level conspiracy here, you throw a couple of picks and you're screwing a football game up when your season's already over.
Yeah. That's
a pretty easy way to slide into the whole shut me down conversation, right?
It is. It is.
But you like going, is it an under or is it just a pass play for you?
I would play it under.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a combination of a couple things, like the Bears secondary, not getting a ton of pressure, not getting any help. They don't really have any playmakers back there. It's Aaron Rodgers against the Bears. And I look at this more as a spot of Aaron Rodgers knows Jordan Love's on the field. There are legitimately people who want to see Jordan Love on the field now.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, I don't care what he says. He doesn't want that. And so, what happens is, I think he kind of shows up this week and he probably does what he normally does against Chicago. So not a spot I'd be going to chase Aaron Rodgers interceptions. I never would, quite frankly. He's just such a low turnover quarterback. But yeah, especially in this situation, I think it's a good underplay for sure.
All right. What else jumps out? Again, we have this busy slate here to look at. So we did have a couple of others. The over was the Montgomery. That was a heavy smash, but we've got a pretty good mix of all 70s here, like Mike White staying under a pick, George Pickens staying under his receptions. You can go to Tannehill or Daniel Jones staying under the passing touch. Yeah, I have a number there that I know we always talk about one or two that maybe jump out that we would go a little against or might be a good contrarian play against our free projections. So unless you have a strong play on the Jones one, I'll hold that back for a sec. But was there another one in that 70 percentile or so where it's all going to be under after the Montgomery play that you think would be a good lean here?
I like the under Mike White interceptions. The Vikings defense, again, this is not something we should be scared of.
Right.
The secondary, they've been getting chewed up all year. They allow big plays. Mike White. Yeah. And the other thing, what the Jets are doing, I don't think that they're going, their defense, I don't think is going to put them behind the 8 ball, I don't think that Mike White is going to be in a situation this game where it's 14-0, where it's 21-7 late in the game and he's just chucking out there. So I feel pretty good about it, man. I mean, you
Two
know, I
picks
know
is
it's
a
Mike
lot.
White. What's that?
2 picks at like 1 pick
Yeah.
with variance is one thing, Geoff, but
Yeah.
2 is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you could get bad quarterbacks who go, you know, they might throw 40 times and go for like, you know, 250 yards, but they don't throw any picks or any touchdowns. And it's just because interceptions, you need a little bit of luck to happen. So you need a receiver to fall down. You need a cornerback to be in the right spot. You need a cornerback who can catch the ball. So yeah, 2 picks. I think that's a great one to lead with. And I think that game will be close. And I mean, the Jets will run the ball a bit, like I said. So yeah, I also just have no respect for the Vikings defense. So I mean, it's like, as their secondary mainly, like it's just not a good unit. So I'm not going to start picking them to get me my interceptions of any secondary. So I like that one. The Tannehill prop is kind of interesting. The passing yards, it's a big prop.
A big number, right?
Yeah. I mean, I like the Mike White one more, but I'm just trying to think if there's any other ones here that I would really get on.
What about the Wilson under 1.5 passing touchdowns?
Yeah, I saw that. That's interesting.
This offense is just...
I'm the kind of sicko that would consider going over on that for the simple fact the Ravens are a secondary that's not very good. We kind of saw what they gave up to Trevor Lawrence. At the same time, that's just me who, like, I don't know. I watched too much Russell Wilson in his prime. Like, it's just, I can't get like prime Russell Wilson out of my like memory. And it's like, he's not even the same player. This offense is so bad. So yeah, it's fine. I mean, going under it at this point, the Broncos are averaging 12 points per game. I mean, has he even had a 2-touchdown game this year? Like, I don't think he has. So, you know,
he hasn't had multiple ones. I would pretty much bank on that one.
If he did it, he did it once, right? Yeah, right. I would say it's probably true. Anyways, yeah, that one's fine. Actually, the Deshaun Watson over prop, I'd probably be interested in. It's a little bit under 70% probability, but
oh yeah, that's fine.
218. You know, we got Amari Cooper, Peoples-Jones, good pass catching. I think Watson probably hits that. You know, it's Houston. Yeah, I mean, we have it projected as a strong overplay. I feel pretty comfortable in that. I mean, I know Watson's rusty, but doesn't mean that he's not going to be, you know, like just a far more effective downfield passer than Jacoby Brissett. So,
yeah, and I think they're going to do things that, and look, Kevin Stefanski deserves a lot of heat for a lot of different things, but he's going to have some creativity that I just don't think Deshaun Watson had clearly in Houston. And that's not a comment that's reinventing the wheel, nor is it taking some major stance. It's just the overall creativity and approach on offense is going to be better for him. So the other one that I was curious about was the Daniel Jones one. And that, look, 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think he's got a pretty good pathway to 2 touchdowns. He's got a 4-1 straight up, 5-0 against the spread record against Washington. They're a home dog in this tight game. And in those 5 games, Geoff, his TD to pick ratio is 9-3. A lot of that's Ron Rivera, right? Like, and I get it. And your face, Mike, I know you just had me on there, but Jeff's face, as I said that, which was kind of just like, yeah, you know, I normally don't eat healthy fill in the blank, but you know, these Brussels sprouts aren't that terrible. Like it kind of gave me that feel for it.
No, it's true. Yeah, I think when you look at how this game's going to go too, like, I mean, my concern is that the Giants are on a slide and it's not going to stop. But at the same time, like the Giants can lose this game and Daniel Jones can get there. Again, like the more you think about the game flow of this game, I mean, again, I like the Commanders in this game, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not like, I don't dislike the Daniel Jones props. What we've seen over the last couple of weeks when Daniel Jones and the Giants have been losing, he's actually been throwing more. He's actually been throwing for more yardage as well. So I think that's probably a better contrarian play than my Russell Wilson idea. Let's put it that way. I'd have a better feeling of getting behind that. You know, Jones still has some. The concern with the Giants is always, who the hell is Daniel Jones going to throw the ball to?
I get it.
But he's been doing that's been a concern all year, and they get past it, right? They do have some guy and that's having Brian Dable as your coach, and not like Jason Garrett, right?
Correct.
That's Brian Dable using his tight ends effectively, finding Darius Slayton, getting him out of the attic and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's a good contrarian move. You could even double up with it. Maybe, maybe go over on Slayton receiving yards if you wanted. I know we have that projected as an under, but Slayton is a pretty decent little team target share there, or maybe going over on his receptions rather than yards. I don't know, but there's some ways you could kind of play it. You could look to maybe Brian Robinson on the other side of that game as well, and taking over there.
Yeah, that's a good play there too. Robinson on the other side, because he's under right now on our projections, right? So that would be contrarian to our field at the very least.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like, we're obviously going against the projections, but when you're targeting multiple props from a game and looking to put them in your lineup, it's just like last night. Like if you were playing the unders, all the unders last night, you're just playing for a lower scoring game where the defenses kind of hold up, and that's exactly what happened in the second half. Whereas if you're taking, a Daniel Jones over with the Brian Robinson over, playing for a few more points, but you're also, like these are Antonio Gibson may not play this week. Robinson's been getting all the early down work anyways. Is really effective last week. The Giants rush defense sucks. And if he's effective, Daniel Jones will be coming back and throwing a little bit more. So
what about AJ Brown? 81.5. And we have him projected for nearly 20 full yards below that. And I'm not surprised, Geoff, because of the whole revenge in the NFL works great when you're the visiting team, when you're the road team. When you're at home, there's no revenge. Like everybody's rooting for you, cheering for you, backing you. AJ Brown's already had a couple of games over $150. Like it works if they were in Nashville. So I'm not shocked at that. I'm just shocked that he's their number one receiver. I do think you can throw, or at least they can throw a little bit on the Titans once they soften them up on the ground, especially because they're so heavy on the ground. I don't know. It's just a little surprising. I'm not saying I'm going against it, contrary and opposite, but I'm a little surprised that the gap is that wide for AJ Brown.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting game to target for a couple of reasons. AJ Brown, for sure. Like we know what AJ Brown's upside is. I mean, he can go off for 6 and 120 against pretty much anyone. Here it is. I was looking for Derrick Henry's prop as well. I don't think we're going to get a receiving prop, but obviously his rushing prop.
I think it's just rushing, right?
Yeah. I mean, we actually have Derrick Henry projected for an over. We have Henry projected for almost 100 yards this week.
That's insane. Yeah.
And I mean, I mean, the Eagles rush defense lately, not good. So if Derrick Henry hits his prop and goes what we have him projected for 100 yards, the Titans are moving the ball. This is a close game, and the Eagles are throwing more because it's really hard to run on Tennessee. Like they have a very good, effective rush defense, and I think that probably leads to potentially just upping the chances of AJ Brown having that kind of game. So yeah, I think that if you're going to take the over on Derrick Henry, I would think really hard about coming back on the other side with AJ Brown. I mean, I again, like you said, it's not necessarily that it's a revenge game, but it is a good spot. Like they allow a lot of receptions and a lot of long receptions to wide receivers. Fantasy points, just in terms of yards per reception, their secondary isn't good. Their secondary gets covered up by their pass rush and their, just their D line. But again, you got Jalen Hurts, not the easiest guy to bring down, right? So yep. I do think AJ Brown's going to have a big game. I kind of thought that since the beginning of the week. And I also think Derrick Henry's in a good spot. Like I know this prop is not on here. It actually, maybe you can get it in the versus the house on No House. They might have it up, but Derrick Henry's receiving yards is also something I'd look to go over on. He's seeing way more targets, and Philly isn't going to lie down. Like they're not going to blow them out to the point where Henry's just taking rushes. Like they're going to put pressure on Tannehill, drop back a few more times. I think that'll lead to Henry going over on receiving yards as well.
Yeah, that's a really good call. And if you look at what he's been able to do, it's not like he's a heavy target, meaning he's going to get thrown to 6-7 times. This isn't a Joe Mixon scenario, right, where he could be the team leader in receptions, but he's still so dangerous that if you get him the ball in the right spot, it works like a big break. I mean, he had 45, and then he followed that up with 79 in the air each of the last two games. And I just saw this. I was up close and personal, my friend. I saw the Green Bay Packers shift to running the football to getting the football out as humanly possible to their running backs. And it worked. It worked against the Eagles. And I think you're right. That's a great thing. If you could work it into the against the house or just a general betting thing, a strategy there would be probably a small market that not a lot of people are going to focus on since everybody's focused on him running the football.
Yeah. Last time I looked, props were sitting around 13.5. So again,
receiving yards.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So yeah, he's averaging, he's already had more receptions this year too than like he's already hit his career high through like 12 games. So he's running more routes. He's just out there more. I like it.
Awesome. All right. Well, we have a couple more minutes here. I was just looking to see if there was anything else maybe in the top end. Like, what's the biggest contrarian? It's outside of the top two, Chubb, Montgomery, just because those are so wide. All right. Do you think that people are going to Jahan Dotson getting 3 receptions would screw up a lot of people's night, I think, right? Or day, technically, based on our projections.
Yeah. Dotson's funny. I mean, I think since the quarterback change, it's kind of been phased out. So if I was looking at these, I'm just trying to think where would I go? Or I mean, we mentioned Brian Robinson as being like a good contrarian move, but I'm kind of in line with the projections on most of these other dudes. I mean, Latavius Murray against the Ravens, no thanks. Pickens is interesting. I mean, Pickens is more a player I'd rather have a yardage prop go over. So I wouldn't be looking at the 4.5 receptions, but like the receiving yards, I think that's always in play for George Pickens.
That's a good one too.
I don't hate that.
Okay.
Weak secondary, they're playing Atlanta. So I mean,
right.
Again, like weak secondary for sure. God, Atlanta is, it's such a good matchup for Atlanta's receivers for Drake London, but like Drake London with no Kyle Pitts had a 37.5 receiving prop last week, and he still couldn't hit the over there. So, I mean, you could go back to that. Well, the Steelers secondary is just so terrible that, if London is ever going to go over 50 yards, this is probably the spot. He's got a 41.5 prop. We actually have him projected for an over. So I was actually reading this backwards. Yeah. Okay. The 41.5 is the line on Noah's advantage. We haven't projected for 50. So I'll admit, I don't mind that one, but I'm a little bit, I've been waiting for the passing breakout from Atlanta all year, and it's just not there. So a little bit lukewarm, but it's a really good matchup for Drake London. That Steelers secondary cannot cover anyone on the outside. So
yeah, that's the big thing there is that if you're not physically getting to the quarterback on that defense, you're screwed on the outside, right? I love that. I don't know. And I'm looking at other ones that might easily, you mentioned Brian Robinson. I wonder how many people outside of just looking at the blind projection, if you're only sorting by sim win on our free projections at No House Advantage, and you're not even looking in the depths of it and just like, oh yeah, okay, Latavius Murray under, that's what he said. But if you are looking at names and if you're going through this and you're trying to figure out stuff, and I don't know how, I wonder if people do just blow by the Latavius Murray prop and how much value you see in either that or maybe even going contrarian if you do think it's going to be a popular play.
That's interesting. I mean, I think that fading the Denver Broncos is definitely something that people will be interested in. So I think that when you look at it, 57.5, obviously we have free projections up. People see that. Yep. But also just, people will see a Denver Bronco with a line of more than 50 yards and just kind of go, why on earth would I ever go over this? So yeah, I think that will be a popular one. I think from a pure leverage standpoint, I think the Russ prop will be that's another reason why I brought up going over on Russ. I mean, again, we're talking about these are pure leverage plays. These really have almost nothing to do with what we think is going to happen. Do I think Latavius Murray is going to go for 60 yards? No. Could he though? Yes. And is everyone going to play the under? Absolutely. So, taking the over on Murray, who's going to have a big snap count, it's not like Baltimore's offense has been so good lately that they're guaranteed a 14-point lead after the first quarter. It's quite the opposite. So I don't think it's that outlandish a play. And I do think that the Denver Broncos unders will be some of the most popular plays on this slate. So that's probably the best way to put it with that. Interesting play. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say this too. I think the Broncos probably are going to cover this week. I would not be shocked. The Ravens are just as dysfunctional as Denver. That's what I think people are overlooking a little bit in that game. that team it's got its own issues right now. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Denver Broncos, if this was actually a week where they looked semi good enough to get the win, which would maybe push a guy like Murray over. It wouldn't shock me.
Now that's not right. Come on. You see Mike there with that photo of, what was that, cereal and hot dogs that Russell was cooking? What is that? Is that what are those hot dogs? Oh, and a piece of cheese.
What a week for Russ. Hey, he gets his birthday party attendance like dissected. He gets compared to, what was his name? Like Bo Callahan in the Draft Day movie, because no one went to his birthday party. It's
wait, what happened to the birth? I missed this.
So no. Okay. So he had a birthday party and like
Right.
half the team went, apparently it was reported.
Okay.
And
the
then-
other half
and
was
then
like,
the-
screw this shit. I'm not
And
going.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Draft Day, but like the quarterback who was supposed to be drafted #1 overall in the movie Draft Day, Kevin Costner, the general manager, did his research and he found out like only half the team went to his, or like none of the team or something went to his birthday party. So he went off the quarterback and he drafted some defensive player instead. That's the whole movie.
Wait a second. Isn't this the party that, like, didn't somebody come out? Was it Deshaun Jackson? Like, didn't somebody come out and say that Russell Wilson was charged? Oh no, maybe that was Donovan McNabb. I don't know. But did Russell Wilson, was he charging like an exorbitant amount of money? No?
No, for that. No, I think that's someone else.
Okay, that's something else. That's pretty funny.
I don't think so. Anyway, it could be. It sounds like something he would do.
We'll
but
come back to the story on Monday, depending on what
yeah,
happens. with
we'll
Denver.
revisit.
I promise. All right. NBA edition is coming up next. No house advantage. So you go from the NFL to the NBA. Don't go anywhere. You don't have to. You can just sit right there. Appreciate it, my brother. We'll talk to you on Monday for Monday Night Football, Geoff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hope everyone has a good week.